Then they didn't have a cue card for anybody else that died, so why have a special one for
They
him?
did. What are you talking about? I told you. You said you didn't see it, but I'm telling you, I saw it. It was there.
All right, fine.
You can't.
Somebody want to tell me sorry?
No.
James?
No, I never
No.
apologize.
About something with the Last Dance documentary and
No, I told you.
and
But whatever. Like, don't matter. And no, you're not getting an apology from me. I apologize
No
for something I'm
apology?
actually sorry for. I'm not sorry for that.
Also, I
'Cause
wouldn't
I
apologize.
still feel the way I feel about it. It's not going to change. You could have just said, rest in peace.
here's your opportunity to say rest in peace. So I'll put it into the I'll edit it into the end of the document, Last Dance.
Nice. Cool.
It's all sorts of sports. Scores, laughs, controversy. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. My name is Mauricio. I know nothing about sports, so I brought my good friend, or my best friend, Ryan, my good friend, Gideon, whom I've known for the longest time, and then this guy wearing an Oakland Raiders hat. Don't really know
Las
this.
Vegas Raiders.
Sorry, Las Vegas, whatever. I think his name is James, but
Yep.
he also knows a lot about sports, so I kind of need his opinion on things. But mostly from Ryan and Gideon, though, not so much James.
Nice.
However, James and Gideon put up a really nice video about everything that's been going on with George Floyd. So you guys should definitely check that one out. It's a really thoughtful, and I do like how you guys wanted to connect it, or actually did connect it to sports, which is what we do. But it was a really thoughtful video. With that being said, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was about players in different leagues doing the protests against everything that's been happening with George Floyd. Today, while I was watching a soccer game, shocker, it was Dortmund against Paderborn, and one of the, I know, right? And then one of the two of the players that I came to find out, as soon as they scored a goal, they took their jersey off, and their undershirt had a message that said "Justice for George Floyd," and two of the players did that. So, knowing that the Bundesliga is the only soccer league on TV right now, I thought that was really nice from them to share it to the world, because there's millions of people watching it, and for two players to do that is definitely an international thing, happening. So, do you guys have any thoughts or anything that you want to add about players and leagues doing the protests and stuff like that?
You can get your first chance.
Okay. Well, this isn't anything new. It's been happening forever. Today we saw Hakimi, Jordan Sancho. I think his first name is Jordan, right? Jordan Sancho.
Jaden.
Jaden. All right. And then McKennie from.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I Winston McKenna. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's an American. Plays for Schalke, midfielder.
Yeah.
Schalke, which one? 05?
04.
04. Yeah. You knew it was 04.
He's been telling that joke since I met him, and it sucks every time.
Oh, wow. This is the first time I've
I feel so lost.
But outside of that, you can even look at some of the people that you see on the front lines, like Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. He drove 15 hours to go to Atlanta to lead a protest with Malcolm Brogdon, and Justin Anderson was there too. Then you got in North Carolina, J. Cole was there, but right next to him, as always, was Dennis Smith Jr. And Steven Jackson, when he was in Minnesota, like speaking to the press, if you look to his left, right next to him was Karl Anthony Towns. And he just lost his mom to COVID-19.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's nothing new for players to be at the forefront of issues. So
It's good. They
I
have
mean,
a
but
platform.
I appreciate it.
this is the most, I think, the most public I've seen this many players across this many leagues. I mean, you got Joe Burrow, you got the rookies in the NFL, you have veterans in the NFL, veterans in the NBA, rookies in the NBA.
The kid from Clemson,
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence. I think
Yeah.
that's
Sunshine. This is the first time I've seen it, the outrage, at least the well-deserved outrage, this widespread across like every community. It's not one of those things that's gonna die down soon in terms of the protesting. Yeah, and it shouldn't. And I'm very surprised that it's taken this long for people to get this upset. And I know there's some people that are probably taking advantage of the situation, which is upsetting because it takes away from the right narrative. But
if you look at some of the videos, you question who is quote unquote taking advantage.
No, exactly. It's people taking advantage of the situation. It's not people who are out there protesting per se. They're out there.
Right cause.
They're not there for the cause. They're there for their cause, which is they want to blow stuff up and break stuff, and that's not
get a free TV.
Yeah, and that's. I'm hoping that doesn't.
I saw two videos that was pretty weird. One was I think it was in Texas.
You see the one of the cop smashing windows?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that, but also there was a video of a protest in Texas, like right before it started. There was a pallet of bricks, just perfectly placed.
Yep. And
it's kind of like, hold on, who put these here? And this is before everything started. I was like, come on now. And the guy in the video was like, I know what you guys are like right during where we're supposed to be. Okay, I see how this is supposed to go. It's a lot of shady stuff going on with people with ulterior motives and all that other stuff.
Yeah, the people driving across state lines. I mean, I feel like I watched the Killer Mike speech this morning, and basically, I mean, he's got so many family members who are police officers, so he's and he's also probably one of the biggest names that I know of who just constantly talks about these issues, and he does it very publicly.
He had a show about it.
Yeah, he did have a show about it.
Awesome show.
But he basically said what I was saying yesterday before I watched this video is this is not the time to be tearing your house down. It's time to fortify. It's time to plan, and it's time to do this peacefully. And it's tough for him because he does have so many family members who are police officers that obviously he loves and respects, and it sucks so much dick that. And I know this doesn't play into the narrative, but there's a bunch of good cops, and it's a couple stupid people is why we can't have nice things. And it's
I'll say this:
it's persistent
in different times.
It's persistent in the police department so much that the people who you should always feel safe with the police. That's the problem. There can be no instance in which, when you call the police or when you were stopped by the police, that you should be in fear because their job is to protect and serve the community. I've never felt afraid except for when I've done something illegal and I'm probably about to go to jail, but I'm not afraid of the police officer. I'm afraid of the repercussions. And that's the difference. And there should never be that fear of the person with the badge. And they just got to root that out. And I don't know how to do it, but it's frustrating.
When people say that there's a bunch of there's good cops and then there's just a few bad apples, right? My question to them in response is, well, when they see the bad apples, what are they doing about it?
That's people. I don't know. I feel like this is maybe. I think it happens in the military too. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because there's different tiers, like rankings. Even if you're a police officer, there's different rankings. I don't know if they're afraid if they rat somebody out about something, then they'll get ratted out about something else, and then it's just a whole domino effect. But, I mean, there should be whistleblower status inside the police community where if you see somebody doing something and you're questioning their motives or who they are as a person, you should be able to speak up and they should do an investigation. And if it turns out that they're a piece of shit, then they should not be on the police force. It's like if you're a doctor and you're cutting off someone's leg, but they need their arm amputated, that guy gets fired.
I think it's more if you're a doctor and you are sedating someone to rape them.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, yeah,
like
it's if you're a bad person or you're a bad pharmacist or if you're a bad, I don't know, you work at a church or a school. Those people, they get those people out. And I don't know why it doesn't happen as much in the police community, because they are the buffer in society between people who are doing right things and people who are doing things that are wrong. And they are now doing the things that are wrong. And you just can't have that.
It's more than just now.
They are the only buffer. It's not firemen. You know, it's not ambulance drivers. It's them. The guys carrying the guns. It's fucking bullshit. It makes me so angry.
Kato, what do you got? A lot, it seems like.
It's becoming increasingly harder to talk about this shit for me. I'm on so many fucking anti-anxiety meds right now that, like, I can barely emote. I feel glimpses of rage. I feel glimpses of fear. When you guys were just talking, there was like a part of me that wanted to cry, but then there's a part of me that wanted to throw my fucking laptop against the wall. I'm sick and tired of having to beg people to listen to me, to what it is that I go through or what it is my people go through. And when I try to talk to people about it, they bring up all these statistics about white people suffer from police brutality more than black people. So they disregard my argument or try to punch holes into how I'm feeling. And then when I have these athletes that we talked about on a previous podcast, when you reach a certain level, you do not suffer from the exact same things that you do when you're coming up. But I still have people out there that are willing to sacrifice the status in which they came to fight on my behalf. And then they get chastised. Their message gets completely thrown to the wayside, just like when I'm asking nicely. When I protest, I'm told, this is not the way to conduct your argument. Why are you preventing hardworking people from going to work on time? Don't you have jobs you need to go to? This is not the right way to go about it. And then when I get angry enough that you're not listening to me, that I riot, which in all fairness, I think that almost all of the riots at least have started with white people, regardless of what side they're on. But even if it was black people, which I know were participating in the rioting, I don't blame them. I don't criticize them. I understand. AutoZone and Target were looted. And I had to go online and hear a bunch of people talking about how about people are burning down our own communities. Last time I checked, Target or AutoZone are not owned by anyone in my community. If you look at the average wages for an employee at Target or AutoZone, it's around $25,000 or $26,000 a year. That's it. That's it. Where's the poverty line? How are you supposed to build anything off of $25,000 or $26,000 a year? In Minneapolis, 23% of blacks own homes. Only 23%. What the fuck am I burning down that's mine? What part of the community is mine? They do everything they possibly can do to disregard and dismiss when I tell you that I'm upset, when I tell you that there are legitimate concerns that I have, and then you question every method I have to try to get my point across.
Yeah.
I've got nothing anymore. I'm not trying to reach and change anybody's minds anymore. I'm past that part. We tried to do it peacefully. Martin Luther King tried to do it peacefully, and they shot his fucking ass. And now I've got to also go and hear people try to whitewash his message and then tell me how it is that he would have handled this situation, or how it is that he would have been upset with the way that I'm handling this situation. Fuck you.
No,
You don't get to do that to me.
I'm fully in support of that.
They take our leaders. You turn Malcolm X into a racist person, and then you are part of the process of getting him killed. You take Martin Luther King and you completely change what he's about to fit your fucking narrative. I'm done. I'm done. If there are protesters and looters that are out there burning Black-owned businesses and local businesses, I had nothing for you. I understand your anger, but I also understand that it needs to be funneled in a different way. And that's what I'm looking towards right now, is the planning stages of what's next. But don't anybody have any room to fucking criticize me or anybody that looks like me, because you spent so goddamn long not listening. So I don't care.
Facts.
Actual facts. All right. That was deep. But
Real.
Yeah,
that was 100% real.
And also for
That's
anyone
a fucking reality.
For anyone that's
unfortunately.
actually listening, this is a fight for all communities to come together to support and listen. This is not one side versus another. This change only comes in groups. And if everybody's actually listening, this is a message where we all need to come together to make change. It's not going to happen one side against the other. That's going to be a disaster. So everybody who is listening, this message is for you to stop what you're doing and figure out, start planning with your friends, start planning with your neighbors, and figure out, we got to come to some sort of solution. Don't know what it is, but it can't be one side against the other. Everybody's got to open their ears and open their hearts and start to figure this out, because it's gone on for way too long.
I understand that part of it. I will tell you this. This is where my head's at. I do think it's one side versus the other, and I'm completely fine with it at this point. When we were talking about, in the way that we started this conversation, was how do I feel about the athletes providing their platforms? I'm one line and I see you. I see you. If you are online and you want to continue to post pictures of your fucking brunch instead of taking a stand as far as where this is, I see you. If you want to be out here and you're going to try to, like I said, whitewash Martin Luther King's message to then come back and to treat me like I'm a fucking child on how it is I should act, I see you. You're not on my side. I don't want you on my side.
Right.
It's over. I'm done with that. You can either be with me and with this cause, or you're not. And if you're not, fuck off.
No, and that's completely fair. I mean, I think my point is that your side, my side, our side, should be as in the greatest numbers and coming together to come up with a solution, even if it is against those people. Because fuck those people. Either you're doing something about it or you're part of the problem.
Yep.
That's it. So
this was probably the greatest thing that we have ever done on the podcast so far. Thanks to Kadeem. Appreciate you, bro.
love you, man.
But you know what? I don't want to say it's funny, but this is not the first time that Kadeem talks like that out of his heart. I remember the conversation that we had at Ryan's deck with one of Ryan's friend that was present, and she kind of asked you some questions, and you responded the exact same way that you did right now, full of passion and full of kind of try to make your point across. But now I guess I know that it's enhanced because of all the bullshit that's happening. So it's not the first time that you spoke out, and I don't know if this matters for you, but I listen, and it sucks. I wish I could relate a little bit more, but I guess nothing's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
But
I'll say this one thing: it's shit that, like, we've been saying, our parents have been saying, grandparents have been saying, everybody's been saying forever. It's now that we all have social media and you see videos. I mean, shit, y'all were looking at videos in '91 of Rodney King and all this other shit. And now it's the next generation that comes up. And
30 years after is the same.
yeah, like,
Shit ain't new.
nope.
It's not new.
It's now everybody sees it.
George,
And even then, there was a time where, like, what, 2012 we talked about, Kadeem, where people started to see, there was like a week span where it was every fucking day you would look online and see a black person be murdered with, like, unarmed.
Yep.
Like, I've seen videos of somebody running away from a cop and then they just shoot him in the back.
That was in one of the Carolinas.
Yeah. And it's like, come on, man. And I see these people and they look like all of my family. George Floyd looked like my dad.
They
It could have been
are
my dad.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This
Yeah.
shit ain't new. This shit ain't new.
Right.
This T-shirt I'm wearing is a Boycott Styles T-shirt. If you don't know where it's from, watch Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing came out in 1989. You can watch that shit right now and realize that every single thing that's talked about in that movie still happens today. It still happens today. There's a difference between pacifying people and doing just enough to keep them to shut the fuck up and keep going and making actual changes. There's a difference there. And I'm sick and tired of being pacified.
Yeah,
It's some fucking bullshit. Unless it changes, I'm done. I'm out. So, like, me and James have talked a lot. I think that it's not to keep anybody out of anything, but it's just that I understand. And we don't just, even my friends that are trying to do right by me and want to be allies, sometimes I just don't want to I don't want to have the conversation with you. Because I know as much as I appreciate you trying to understand, and I appreciate and I love you for it, there's just sometimes I know I need to have that connection with somebody that actually gets it. And
yeah, I agree with that 100%.
but like I spent the last couple of days actually writing a list of shit that an agenda of shit that I want to get done. I think I'm gonna start recording a couple of videos on my Instagram just to get that shit across. But I'm tired of this shit, man. I'm so fucking tired of this shit. And you guys know me. I spend all my time trying to speak nicely to people. I spend all my time trying to reach across and to find some sort of connection and to bridge that gap. And I'm now at a particular point in time where I'm like, yo, I've been trying that. I might get one or two people, and it's always got to be those one or two people to get to a point where they actually love me, that I can get to a point where I'm like, all right, maybe they understand where I'm coming from, and it's still a maybe. I'm enough's enough, man. Like I'm over this shit. I'm ready to let everything fucking burn, because it's you don't understand what is in this fucking pandemic. Who's dying more than anybody? Our people. Who's on the front lines in those essential worker gigs as far as in the grocery stores, especially in the cities? It's my people. Who's
protesting? Us.
Us. We still out there trying to get rice and just spreading this fucking virus around to each other because we just want you to listen. Like that's it's just like I'm shaking. I don't.
I hear you. Dude, I don't. It's just so much bullshit. I hate, and I know this is how it is, but I hate that I know you guys, and I've never had, oh, my black friend Kadeem and my black friend James. You guys are just my friends. I never saw the difference between things. But I also see where you're coming from, where, yeah, it might be one side versus one side, and I wish it wasn't like that, but I don't think there's anything that I can do to, make it a little bit more, I guess, streamlined. All of us as Americans be the one. I guess that's just like the dream or whatever. In a perfect world, it will be like that. But
here's what I'll tell you: if you want to be an ally and you're not black, listen
right
to what we're saying. Stop trying to poke holes in the shit that we're saying. Try to have empathy and put yourself in our shoes. Think about if it was your kid, your brother, your father, your sister.
Yeah.
That was one of us, right? Outside of that shit, work on your own fucking families and friends. That's what y'all need to do, is to check that shit. When you're at Thanksgiving dinner and you got your fucking uncle says some sly shit about that Negro in the White House, Obama, check his ass. When they're talking about all these people and these thugs doing this, that, and the other, check their asses. They ain't listening to me. They might listen to you. But you got to find that bridge to kind of get in those people, because it's clear to see for me for the last how many hundreds of years. Regardless of how it is that I go about it, my people go about it, they ain't fucking listening.
Right.
So I'm off of them. I'm done. That's what I'm saying. That there's a line in the sand for me. If you're an ally, you focus on those people. I got no time for them anymore. I'm ready to do what we need to do past those motherfuckers. If y'all want to still have those people involved in our society in that way, y'all work on them. Y'all work in y'all families. Y'all work on y'all friends. It ain't up to me no more.
Facts.
To tie it all back to sports, once again, props to the players and all the athletes that have been protested. I think they have a bigger platform, and being in national television and, you know, showing messages, support, and all of that, I think is really great.
Yep, even those that aren't on national TV right now, that
Sure.
are just there. And it's going to go down in the history books again. Like I said before, social norms has a history of being ignorant, right? So the shit that the general public thinks is okay, years later it's not. And then they look back and like, what the fuck were y'all doing? And that's going to be the same shit now. So I appreciate all the players going back to their communities, like Dennis Smith Jr., Jaylen Brown, Malcolm Brogdon, Justin Anderson, and countless others. Like during a pandemic, when they're about to start the season back up, they're on the front lines showing support, trying to lead these protests to show that this shit isn't okay. And then you got players that are playing their sport that are showing the same thing. So I'm happy for the players to do that. But something has to change.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of seasons coming back, the next topic will be the Premier League and La Liga coming back finally in a couple of weeks. I know Ryan's super excited, as I am. One thing that popped up, though, that me and James were talking about earlier was how it seemed as though as this was influenced by the sponsorship. They were talking about La Liga. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, James, but they were talking about La Liga having a deadline to come back. Otherwise, the sponsors would have pulled out.
Yeah. So
and I think I think that deadline was June 12th, and La Liga happens to come back on June 11th. So my question to y'all would be: is this mostly influenced by sponsorship? Because there's a shit ton of money that will
most definitely. So, from what I remember reading before this whole announcement to come back was that there was pressure to see when the league would actually come back, because of the fact that if they went past a certain amount of days, I think it was like 90 days from the stop date to the restart, then the TV stations or whatever can try to recoup some of the money that they paid, like La Liga. And I think PK came out. PK is at the forefront of a lot of things in terms of like the players in La Liga. And I think he'll be a great president for Barcelona.
Dude, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, maybe he can clean up the bullshit that we have going on there. Like, I'm tired of hearing about how Barcelona's hierarchy is like the Game of Thrones, where everybody's vying for power. Like,
right.
That
got the most power.
That's an actual quote from somebody that just got ousted. It's weird.
Yep.
That should not be the case. It's a football club.
Yeah.
Like, what are y'all doing? The best, it should be for the best of the club, not for you.
Yeah, but with money.
Isn't the slogan more than a club?
Mexican club, yeah, more than a club. I think it's really, and I don't know if this also applies to the Prem, but if we're only coming back to football, not because it's safe, not because it's been too long, but we're only coming back.
I don't think it's that for the Prem though.
Fucking stupid. That's just La Liga then.
Possibly, just because of the fact that Tobias is like a Madrid supporter.
Sure.
I think he's the president of La Liga.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the whole thing talking about, remember when Ligue 1 announced PSG as the winners, right? It was we're just not going to come back, and PSG wins. And then it was well, Barcelona's winning the league right now. And then you got like Courtois coming out saying like, oh yeah, it'll be wrong if they award Barcelona. And it was like, well, one, you got a shit ton of people dying. And like Spain was hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, so you have all these people dying. You're trying to make it seem as though like it's important for the league to come back right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would be very interested because I'm trying to find it. I can't find too much on it. But if
you look
it's
like,
just the sponsorships,
it was on ESPN.
Okay, I'll take a look. Because if it's just the sponsors, those guys can go fuck themselves.
I don't think it was the sponsors. It was more so like beIN Sport, like the TV contract.
Oh, you mean Saudi Arabia?
People with the most money.
Yeah,
that's bullshit. Also, speaking of
oil
the
prices went down, man. They need to get their money.
Yeah,
true.
Well, what's fucked up is prices went down for like 87. But if you need to put high test in your car, that shit's the fucking same. Like, why? God damn
Thank goodness.
I'm so pissed.
See, I'm thinking entirely too militant right now because I was about to say some fucked up shit.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I need to calm down. Is what I need to do because I'm riled up.
This might make you
3
feel
deep breaths.
No, the
I'm
Prem
about to
League.
go smoke a bowl on this fucking podcast.
It's fine. It's decriminalized here in Virginia.
It's legal where you live in, so
yeah, fuck it.
We're not breaking no laws.
I got shit I need to do, like edit podcast.
Yeah, can't do it like this.
Look, bro, take a break. We can upload on Tuesday. So
no, we're uploading tomorrow. That's the schedule.
Right.
So
fair enough.
The Prem League. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but the 2 games that they're playing the first weekend back are 4 clubs, all of which have games in hand.
Hmm?
So if they play those 2 matches and something goes wrong, everyone will have played the same amount of games and they can cut the season off right there.
Shut the shit down. Yeah.
Yep.
I really thought when Ligue 1 gave PSG the title, I thought it was gonna domino effect through all the leagues, which made a little sense to me back there. But
well, I feel like
just because of the Dutch league didn't do it. Like they just said there was no chance.
Yeah, it had been an agreement at all the leagues. I don't know, man. It just really sucked that if there's one TV broadcaster that is pushing all of this, which shows you how much power they fucking have. So fuck the people, fuck the safety of the players, fuck everything, right? Because they need their money.
I don't know because you remember beIN Sport is in a fight right now with I think ESPN because you remember ESPN took the Serie A, right?
Right.
And there was this whole thing about ESPN also getting La Liga at some point. That's why you have beIN Sport fighting with DirecTV. So now beIN Sport's not on DirecTV anymore. Like a bunch of different channels, like TV service providers were taking beIN Sports off because of the demands and shit.
I'm sure they're gonna come after Fox too for the Bundesliga. They just basically want every league in Europe to be broadcasted in.
It's Disney.
Yep, basically. But yeah, on a brighter side, assuming that all of this is just not being pushed by one TV broadcaster, we're getting more football back. We're getting La Liga back on the 11th, and then the Premier League back on the 17th. Hopefully, fucking crossing my fingers that everything goes well, just like it's been going well in the Bundesliga, and we get some quality fucking football.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been trying to read up on it, and I haven't found anything yet. But the UFC, except for the one snafu at the very first match, which apparently they tested the guy, he tested positive. They took him and his camp, and they fucked off.
Right back.
And since then, I haven't seen anything to suggest that they're not doing everything. I guess they have the right plan in place,
right?
In terms of testing the fighters and testing the people. There's been nobody. There's still like 8 people between the people in the octagon and the people sitting around it. There's like 8 to 10 people there. And they have the soccer players.
One thing I miss with
they have them up in the stands, like separate, like each of the reserve players are up in the stands and far away from each other.
They're like three seats away from each other.
Yeah.
One thing that I miss from the UFC is that on your corner, you're only allowed to have one coach now.
Yeah.
I never noticed that. So it's either your grappling coach or your punching coach or whatever. So I mean they're taking the right measurements, I think, and I hope it stays we flatline there, and then there's no more testing positive and all of that. Because
Yeah.
yes, I want sports back, but I also want everybody to be safe.
Right.
Obviously.
And
That's why
I like
haven't
that
left the fucking house in 3 months.
they're pumping in crowd noise, which I
I
didn't
hope they
think
do that.
I didn't think I'd like it, but then
Oh, they made it
obviously
a lot
there's somebody there like who's like running those controls, because when the opposing team gets the ball, the sound shifts. Yeah, and like somebody's there do it. Like somebody
Yeah, if
came
they
up with
continue
that.
to do that, it's perfect.
Yo, it makes it. See, I don't even notice that there's no fans in the stadium. Like
It makes me more engaged.
Yeah, instead of
It
that.
makes me way more engaged in the game.
And
I
then
hate
if they
that
have blow
hollow
up dolls,
sound. Yeah. Add
If they have
sex
blow up
dolls.
James, do you want to do your sex doll impersonation of how they sound in the crowd again? Didn't think you'd actually do it. Oh shit!
That was beautiful.
I'm gonna replay that now and then now again.
Come on, man.
I'm gonna write down
Just for the
exactly
record.
what time it was.
if you
Thank
do
you,
that,
thank
would
you.
be funny. If you do that, would be funny.
No.
No, it wouldn't.
He's watching something.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm back.
You never left.
Oh, my
What were
shit
you
was
doing?
fucking up. It gave me your internet connection is not stable. I need to stop using this fucking laptop. I need to just get a webcam. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully
You
we
can
are
start
getting more.
for fans only,
OnlyFans.
or whatever it is.
Isn't that
Only
for,
For
fans.
fans only.
Yeah.
isn't that for
Look
bitches?
at, no,
too?
We'll be like
I know what he was
OnlyMans.
trying to do right there. He's trying to make it seem like, I don't even hear about any of these things. But his ass got like 10 subscriptions.
me?
Motherfucker's trying to act all coy. Like,
Me?
I don't even know
Me?
what it's called. No, Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
right,
fans
for sure.
only. I don't know anything about that. What is it called? Papatrian?
What is
Yeah.
it? Payfortitties.com? What is
Yeah,
that?
I got
Motherfucker's
some
bank
of that.
statement every month
We're
has
gonna-
like
we're gonna
20
put our
little
pic-
$5 statements, $5 charges coming out.
No, we're gonna put
Overseas,
our
man.
pre-production on Patreon.
Yeah, I put all my money.
Whose idea
into
was that?
Twitch.
James says
We need an audience first.
facts.
We had thanks.
We
Shout
have
out
18 subs now. Okay.
Well, I
shout
know
out to
that
the 200 views that we already have.
the
Thank you to
sex
those
doll
people.
thing was because of there was a text thread that I posted on, and now my friends are giving me shit because when they hop on YouTube, they're getting nothing but recommended videos that have sex dolls in them.
That's
Shout out to
great.
my
Yes.
dudes for that.
I love
That's
that.
great.
Yeah, we got like I think 2 or 3 subscribers from that text group. The rest of them are assholes.
So did anyone I'm sure you guys did, but Dame Lillard was talking about the NBA restarting and how he wouldn't want to do it because there's no chance for the Blazers.
No. He's not saying that.
Wasn't it?
He was saying like if they do come back, because there's like 15 games left or something like that, and they were like 2 or 3 games out. Now, if he was saying that he doesn't want to play if there's no chance for them to make the playoffs, because it doesn't make sense.
Right. Why would
Just
you
put
risk yourself?
unnecessary risk,
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So if there's a chance for them to make
Sure.
the playoffs, hell yeah, he's gonna be out there. But if there's no chance, why am I putting myself, my family, my friends at risk going out there to play? Like
Right.
I could die from this.
Yeah, it
Even
makes
even
total
even
sense.
players who made the playoffs, they could still die from this.
Yeah. Well, I think the NHL kind of, I know everybody, all the teams voted on it, or the owners, but they flat out said, hey, we're going to take the top 24 teams. If you weren't there, I'm really sorry. You might have had a chance, but this is how we're going to move forward with the season. So
Yeah.
we're not going to have you play, what was it, like 6 or 7 games,
Yeah.
we're just not going to do it. You didn't do well enough earlier in the season, and you're going to come back and put yourself at risk for a very, very far out chance of making the playoffs. It just didn't make sense. So they
Mark Cuban put out like a proposal to have like, what was it, like a two or three teams like have the play-in for the last spot or the last 2 spots or something like that.
that would make sense too.
I'm gonna go get a drink. I'll be right back in a second.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban's had some pretty like out of the box. I mean, all these things are out of the box, right? But it's like I've been kind of impressed with like how he's been really going with it. So props to your Dallas Mavericks owner.
I mean, he's basically spitballing, but
Nice think about this shit.
But if the idea works, they have people in place that can implement it or figure out the process to make it as safe as possible. So if any of it sticks, that's the point. He's got good ideas and also the methods to implement it.
And he knows the people who to talk to.
Yeah, exactly.
And when Dame found out about like what he was saying, he was like, "Yeah, I would love that idea."
Yeah,
especially like considering like you're limiting the amount of people like they have to play anyway, because there's teams that are just not gonna make it.
Yeah.
So if you have teams that are close and like the seeding or whatever, like have them play for that last spot. You bring everybody to like one location, make it like a March Madness thing where when you lose a series, then you leave. If not, you stay in there in that little bubble.
Yeah.
It works.
The NBA wants Zion in the playoffs.
What seed are they?
I think they're right on the bubble.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Hold on.
Zion, my boy Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Take a look at their seeding and tell me if I'm completely wrong.
All right.
Because I feel as though
I know they were making like a resurgence.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is like I look at the NBA, and I'm sorry if the way that I look at a corporation is that they are not caring about anything but how it is they protect their bottom line.
Well, let's see if they did it like where it was 3 teams, then New Orleans would be in it because right now they're the 10th seed. So if you had the 8th, 9th, and 10th play for that one spot, then Zion would be in it.
And that's the thing, is that whatever it is that, look, with 15 games left, there is a theory to just say lock in the playoffs the way they are right now with the least amount of teams, just roll with it, right? I don't even think
you got Dame and Zion right there.
You're not going to get a lot of pushback. I don't even think Dame's not even pushing back on that aspect of it. All he's saying is that if we're going to play, I want an opportunity to. But if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards, whatever. I'm done. Like, it's whatever it is. Even Mark Cuban, correct me if I'm wrong, you probably listen to more Mark Cuban than I do. But Mark's, unless they're going to do it in a safe and measured way, it makes sense. We're not participating. The Mavericks are not participating. Like, and he's been on top of it as far as like taking care of the employees. He's got all basically the front office are still getting paid a portion of whatever the salary is. All the concessions people that were inside the arena, he's hooked up with different departments and different things inside the city that need workers to help pass out food and to get them hourly wages to do this, that, and the other. That's how he's getting shit done.
And he's even talking about like the people who have been laid off, like not just furloughed, like to have them work on shit that would help the economy move forward.
He's doing that now. Like that, that's why
that's what I'm saying.
Trump had him on the committee. As far as the guys that get, like, he's criticizing the shit out of Trump because he's like, you didn't listen to me. But even Cuban's got ideas as far as the stimulus check and what it is we're going to do with all that. I would appreciate. Look, Mark Cuban has rubbed me the wrong way more than one. But
how?
He grips entirely too hard.
You're rubbing the wrong way. You're rubbing the wrong way. You're rubbing the wrong way.
My dick.
Why?
Because he's giving me a hand job. What the fuck? Do you need me to illustrate it? I'll draw a picture.
Didn't do it properly.
Is that how you do hand jobs?
I have before, yeah.
Giving you an Indian rug burn.
Yeah. Wait. Before we move on, did y'all see the Zoom video where the dude was about to masturbate and didn't know that he turned the camera off?
That was fake, right?
I don't know. But
the reactions looked fake to me. It was funny. It was funny shit.
I have not.
DL Hughley's Instagram.
They were like, "Oh my God, call him!" And he's like, got some lotion. He's like,
what was hilarious? The black dude who was leading the meeting, he was the first one to realize what he's doing. As soon as you saw the lotion, he's like, "I know what man's doing. He's about to tweet off. He's about to tweet off." That was funny. There's a compilation of all the Zoom thing that's go wrong. There's the reporter, I think, that was in like Europe, and his side piece was naked and walked behind him.
I seen the joint where the woman took the shit. Like, she thought the camera was off, and she was like, "Whoop!" And it was like, "Oh no!"
Well, I forget it's what's his name's son who's on the Today Show or one of the CBS Good Morning. I forget whose son it is. Somebody's famous, but he was wearing shorts and his so it looked like he had no pants on.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to angle the camera, so it was like looking at his crotch. So he's like, but then they had him on like the next 2 days actually giving fashion advice for people on Zoom. It's kind of
that's great.
Oh yeah, there's some really good ones out there. Another thing that it's been going on, and it's about the MLB possibly going in a lockout. Do you guys think it's
Yeah.
gonna happen? Should it
Um,
happen?
I was reading an article early today. It was talking about who would be to blame if this happens, and a lot of people are saying the players, right?
That's
But
fucking ridiculous.
they were also saying the fact that if this does happen, what it would do for the sport in itself, and how it could possibly kill the viewership and the amount of people who actually just care about the sport. When
Yeah.
you look at all the other options now, soccer has gone up. Like, Kadeen, even though you don't care about it, soccer's gone up.
Well, it's the only
And
thing out there right now.
right. And if you look at that, it's kind of like if they're locked out for the year, a lot of people just aren't going to forgive them when you look at all the numbers and shit that's been thrown out or whatever. So
I mean, I guess the argument for the MLB as the organization, separate and apart from the players, is that, oh, we're going to lose a shit ton of revenue. Yeah, but you're going to make that shit back in the next 5-10 years. Like, don't. The MLB as an organization is nothing without the Blake Snells and all
Bryce
the-
Harper's.
There's Bryce Harper's, Manny Machado's, Nolan Arenado. Like, if you were cutting their wages by 90%, why would
What they were trying to do to the top players was ridiculous.
Yeah, why pay them their money, let them play the season, and maybe in a year or two when the stands are packed again and this is hopefully behind us, I will pay extra for my ticket. I'll pay an extra $5 a ticket and an extra $1 for the hot dog, just so you can pay these fucking players their money so we can get the sport back underway. Like, it is such an absurd amount of money that they are offering. I would.
They
I'm
agreed to it
offended.
though. They agreed to a prorated.
Right.
Like,
but then they changed. They agreed to something, and then the MLB was like, "Oh wait, hold on,
No, we
now
didn't.
we're changing it again."
Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, what the fuck?
What are you
And now
doing?
it's coming out, and it's like, you guys want them to. What was it like? If you were supposed to make $35 million, you would now make what, 2?
4 or 3?
Yeah, some
fuck
stupid
off.
shit. Like, I was like, what?
See, it's once again trying to find that balance between being too militant and not, right? So it's the angle of what it is I'll look at when it's I think there's 2 issues at hand, right? Number one is that I think that there's been a really good job of the American people, at least a portion of the American people, that look at the contracts of different sports and they think MLB players, because of the guaranteed contracts, are spoiled compared to the rest of the leagues. So it almost like they got a leg down compared to everything else. When what should actually be the takeaway is that the other league should be more like the MLB and
Right.
not the other way around. Is that almost everybody's getting fucked. MLB players are still getting fucked, even with the guaranteed contracts they're at, if you're looking at the revenue split between the owners and them, right?
Yeah.
Now, I also understand from an ownership standpoint, when you talk about the Major League Baseball, the television contracts are not worth the same thing that they're worth with the NFL or the NBA. There's 162 fucking games. No one except for Ryan, who has no life apparently, watches a bunch of fucking games during the year. The way that they make their revenue are all the games that you go to with your business friends over the summer, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to spend a day at the ballpark, this, that, and the other. I'm going to take a kid to the ballpark, this, that, and the other. With the coronavirus thing, I mean, with America right now, with the way the protests are, coronavirus is kind of taking a backseat, even though I know it's going to come back into the forefront again very, very soon, most likely.
Yeah, in a couple months.
Couple
When
months,
it's the second
but-
wave.
Well,
I mean, they're trying to track down everybody that was at the Lake of the Ozarks party, so yeah, good luck. They're literally trying to track down the people that were there.
I know.
So it's,
I know.
so like there's an element of, like I've been saying for weeks on this podcast, even if sports are back, I'm not fucking going. So
Yeah.
the MLB, I don't know how long, if this is now a thing where there's a generation of kids that are graduating from high school and this is their new shared experience. If they feel in that way that like, yeah, I'm not going to those crowds like that, MLB might not ever be the same as far as like their current business model looking forward. So like, I understand what the owners are thinking about in the sense of long term, there's more uncertainty about the MLB than maybe almost any other sport because it's not that event sort of thing that you have in football. You only got 8 home games. 8. That's why people clamor to go to fucking preseason games under the stupidest shit, right?
Yeah.
Like there's not enough games, so you
just
go.
want the experience, yeah.
Right. So that's the thing. So when you talk about the TV contracts, because there's only this many games, everybody's watching.
Supply and demand.
I don't watch baseball unless I'm at a game because I want to experience the game day thing until the playoffs. I'm a huge Nats fan. I don't fucking watch baseball until October's coming. Like I don't care. It's not what the fuck. I'm not watching all those games.
Yeah.
It's boring as shit. I'm not doing that.
If it wasn't for Ryan trying to get me into it, I would have never watched a single fucking baseball game in my life.
Yeah.
Also, they are fun as fuck to go to.
Oh my god, they are. Yeah, I love going to the
like
ballpark.
going to a ball
Everything
game.
that's not. Hold on. Here's the
That's
thing with
so
baseball
good.
games. Baseball games are the most fun to go to for everything that's not including the sport. It's
Exactly.
The food
Oh,
that's
yeah,
at the
yeah.
park.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you can have a conversation and not worry about missing any action. Game day experience. It has nothing to do with what you're saying. The last game I went to was last year. I went to an Orioles-Yankees game, right? Do you think I remember who fucking won?
Wait, didn't we go to a game?
Huh?
We went to a game.
Who? What? No,
All
that's
of us.
XFL game. I'm talking about the MLB. I'm sorry.
Ah, yeah, that was excellent.
I went to a Major League Baseball game. I don't fucking remember what the score was. You know what I
I thought it was
remember?
baseball.
How fucking good those chicken strips were in the hot dog. I also remember
Yeah.
Old Town Road. It just came out and we kept blasting it. Those are the only things I remember the game there.
Was this a
That's
Camden
awesome.
Yards?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
Camden, which is an amazing ballpark
Love
to go to.
it, dude. It's like a
Because
whole
of the
city in
food.
there.
Nobody cares about what's happening on the field
Yeah,
until the
basically.
games start to matter.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
also, the last game I went to was up on ESPN's Facebook page with my dumb face right behind third base
nice.
because I forget who it was. Somebody smacked a grand slam, and I was just being obnoxious behind third base. And I was like, oh, that's me. I was there.
That checks out.
I forgot that I went to that fucking game.
I feel like there's a part of me that, like, in a past life, think I was like an old white guy that had the newspaper and like kept down the scores and shit at the game.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
I wish I'd have enough disposable income in order to be able to do some shit like that and just
My dad did that.
the fucking ballpark like that.
My dad did that.
I keep scorecards at home when I
Your-
watch.
Hold on, your dad's one of the black guys to do that shit?
Yeah, he was actually
That's
a coach.
awesome.
He was a coach.
Oh, no, that's different. That's different. He's a
Yeah,
coach.
I love keeping my scorecards. I got a pile
Yeah.
of them upstairs.
Why?
Huh?
Never mind. I never understand it. Why do you need? I sound like Bill Cosby. Why
Do we need lampshades?
That is not who you want to sound like. All right, cool.
Why do you put the
What
pill
is next?
in the cup and you drink the cup and then you watch the baseball with the Jello pudding pop?
This is not supposed to happen. How did we get from baseball to Bill Cosby? Oh God.
All right, boys. Let me hear your final thoughts. James, you want to go first?
Yeah. All right. So my final thoughts is Kadena and I did a special video special episode, which is live now. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. And this person I was supposed to talk about, but slipped my mind.
It's my fault. Don't take responsibility. It was my fault.
No, a lot of shit was going on in my mind, and I thought about it while we were talking about it, but I didn't say anything. His name is Curt Flood. Right? You know who Curt Flood is? That's surprising. That is surprising that you do not know who he is. That is very surprising to me.
That's it. You're
Okay.
kicked out of the club.
So,
Out.
no, Curt Flood is essentially the reason why the MLB has free agency. Because the MLB had a thing called the reserve clause, which essentially meant that once you signed with the team, you were there for life, unless they released you or trade you,
Oh,
right? So you were their
I
property.
was thinking Curt Flood, like the guy that owns the plumbing place, and I was
Okay,
like,
I was like, come on. I was like, Brian, like, what
Yeah,
was
the
Hear
Cardinals.
about
what
Michael and
was it,
Sons?
Cole? Who got that big deal from the Yankees? Cole?
Garrett?
Which one?
Yeah. Like, it was like 324 million.
Yeah.
At the press conference, he brought up Curt Flood, saying, like, if it wasn't for him and people like him who paved the way, none of this would have happened, which I appreciate him knowing, right?
Yeah.
Because you think about kids coming up, like today, like a lot of times they don't know, like, the people before them.
Right.
So Curt Flood was an all-star who essentially ended his career fighting the MLB for this.
Yep.
Because the reserve call rule, essentially said like, if you played for a team, right, 1 year, you had to play for them the next year.
Yeah.
Right, which essentially ended any hope of you leading that team unless they released you or traded you.
Right.
And this all came up when he was traded from, I think he was at the Cardinals, and then he was traded to the Phillies.
Hold it, please.
Yeah, let me know if I'm right. I'll continue to talk though.
Yeah.
So he was like, "No, I'm not going." And
he
this
went. That's what I thought. He went to Washington.
Was the
no. Who was it before?
He's Cincinnati to the Cardinals, and Cardinals to the Senators.
Okay, so then he refused to trade to somewhere though.
Yeah.
I thought it was Philly. I thought he refused to trade to Philly. I may be wrong.
Oh,
Really, the
Phillies.
team-
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
if you were
right.
saying the teams he was on, if he refused the trade, he wouldn't be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
He came
then
back and played one season for the Washington.
right.
in 71.
Yeah, and then after that, he said he left them. He left the Washington team when he was like, "Yeah, a year and a half is too long. So nah, I'm done."
Right. That's
And
great.
when they tried to trade him to the Phillies, he got a personal lawyer and said like, "Hey, I'm not trying to do this. This isn't right. Like, I'm not an MLB's team's property." And then they went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and then he lost. And then when I think it was two white guys later on, like a couple years later, tried it, then they was like, "All right, cool. Like, we'll change the rule." Like, they didn't want it to be Kurt Flood who changed the rule.
Yeah, it's fucked up. He died really young too.
Yeah,
He died at 59. So
yeah. So
interesting character?
yeah, and I mean, if you look at the contracts of MLB and like how you were talking about how great like everything is for them now, you gotta look at Kurt Flood as one of the people who like he would be on their Mount Rushmore, even though, you know.
I mean
Someone
that
who
and
influenced
that, and if you think about it, this was only 50 years ago. So it hasn't been. This change came about, 100 years into baseball's life. So that's pretty amazing.
Isn't there a statue that's close to Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rushless?
No. Hold
Oh
on.
my God!
Y'all
No?
continue, and I'm gonna
No?
look it up.
All right.
Kadeem,
My
you know
final
what this is?
thoughts.
Kadeem, do you know?
I want to shoot him.
You want to shoot me? Go
I
ahead.
will help.
You want to shoot
Rush
me?
Lesh, you motherfucker.
Oh
No,
no, I'm not
fucking-
talking. No, forget
That's
mine.
what I'm talking.
Ryan
You thought I
with
wanted
his dumb joke.
You thought I wanted to shoot Kurt Flood? What the fuck are you
No,
talking about?
me, because I
Oh,
didn't know
why?
what this. Because isn't there a?
I'm not trying to help racist white people with the myth of black on black crime.
James, are you done with your final thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. No, you wait. Kadeem goes first.
Were you gonna
Final
save the white
thoughts.
person for last? Is he best?
No, I'm putting the best for first.
That backfired for him.
Huh?
So
Damn.
fucking hard.
You put the best person. You put James first. that. And then what are you gonna do?
I'm
So let's just get the black people out of the way. What are you trying to do?
I'm just grouping you guys together. Does that make sense?
Together.
Yeah, that's actually what I did. Effectively what I just did. So what are your final thoughts, Kadeem? Hello?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it light. All right, so
Crazy Horse. Kadeem, weren't you the one that told me about Crazy Horse?
I probably have talked about Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
Me?
All right, cool.
It's just like
No, Kadeem.
No, not Crazy Llama, Crazy Horse.
Because I was saying like how Kurt Flood would be on Mount Rushmore, and I was like, wait. And I was like, there is a statue next to, like, close to Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Crazy Horse.
Like, it's bigger. Yeah, Crazy
One
Horse.
of the few
Cool.
memorials that we have for the Indian burial ground that we call America.
Jeez.
I would say
Keeping it light.
this.
Keeping it really light.
I'll say this.
And
If
truthful.
Huh?
And truthful. But go ahead.
I don't lie.
I know.
Except for Mark Cuban giving me a hand job. That wasn't true.
Why would you say that he did? All right, whatever.
I want it to be true. You dream things and you make them into reality. It's called forecasting. You ever watch The Secret?
Damn. What's wrong with you? What goes on in your mind?
I'm high as fuck on anti-anxiety meds. I'm trying not to cry half the goddamn day. The other half of the day, it's wanting to punch motherfuckers in the face. Then I live in Baltimore, and I get alerts on my phone, and I'm like, I want to light something on fire. So, like, leave me alone, okay? I'm emotionally unstable right now. But I'm trying to make people laugh.
Okay,
All right,
what
as a
what
friend,
are
I
your
will leave you
final
alone.
thoughts?
My final thoughts,
please.
trying to keep it sort of light, but I can't, is if
Then don't.
if you
Go
are
ahead.
listening to this podcast, then I know that you're a fan of sports. And I don't know of any sport other than hockey that's a major sport that my people, black people, are an integral part of, whether it be baseball, soccer, yeah, fucking basketball, football, all of them. If you love our sport and our culture as much as you do, then support us now. That's what we need you to do. Support us the same way and have love for what it is that we care about, the same way you care about the sports that we excel in and give you entertainment.
Yep. Ryan?
Um,
Follow that,
So-
white
Oh
man.
no, take your time. Look at your phone more.
sorry. I was just looking. I was looking something up. So
Look at him. He's bringing up statistics on like black on black violence or anything. I don't trust white people right now, man. I
No.
don't.
I was gonna say, we were talking about how MLB contracts are guaranteed.
Yep.
The only other sport that I know that's like that is the NHL. Their contracts are guaranteed. The only way they can get rid of a contract on their books is if they release a player, but then they still have to pay them like a significant portion of their salary, or to trade them, and then the trade includes that contract. It doesn't go away. They can renegotiate on the other side. But if you haven't watched it, watch the documentary. I think it's on HBO about PK Subban, who is one of my favorite players. Also, when he plays the Caps, he's my favorite player to watch get into fights because he is phenomenal at throwing hands, and it's always good. But watch that documentary. It's I think it's timely right now.
Is it HBO?
Yeah, I think so. It's I mean, yeah, it's about a black young man who wants to play a predominantly white sport like 15 years ago, and it shows how a lot of things hadn't changed by the time he wanted to be a professional hockey player. So check it out. It's really good. I've watched it many
I
times.
wanted to add something for
Is it
Dean's
PK
point.
Subban?
Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't he married to
He's married to somebody big.
Yeah.
I think what was Tiger's
Married to his
Tiger
wife.
Woods,
Yeah.
Tiger
His
Woods'
ex?
ex. Yeah.
Vaughn?
Yep,
Yeah, Lindsey Vonn.
All right, so
God,
Kadeen, when you're talking about hockey, I remember seeing recently a Vander Kane and Logan Couture. I don't know how to say his name, but I hope.
Logan Couture?
Yep. They recently spoke out like in support of everything that's going on, saying like,
Good.
yeah. So I wanted to say
Look, man,
that.
there's just not enough space to put a lot of ice skating rinks in the hood. Otherwise, we dominate that shit anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. My final thoughts are that on Tuesday we played Dortmund. Bayern played Dortmund, which is our rivals, and we won by 1 goal, and it was one of the most beautiful goals I've seen in my life. I love chip shots, and if you guys haven't seen it, I'll send you guys a link to
Send it.
to the goal that Joshua Kimmich scored, because holy fuck,
It was cheeky.
it made me hard. I'm still hard from it. But that's all I got.
I'll send it.
I love you guys. I missed you guys. I can't wait to
Hold
be
on,
back
hold
in
on,
that
hold on,
basement.
hold on. I can't believe we
Yes.
didn't talk about it. I'll just throw it in there since we gotta have a full fucking segment on it. The
Sure.
golf tournament thing last week
Oh my
Oh,
god!
shit.
with Brady and Manning was some of the best fucking TV I have ever seen. Period. It was the most entertaining golf I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
If that could be a model for a lot of these sports going forward on how to do things in a smart and safe way, and what it is that we've talked about on the podcast as far as like access, dude, that shit was bananas how good. I didn't think it could be.
Yeah.
But and they need to give Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson more stuff to do.
Yeah, they do. No,
also,
it's a little
Eli
XFL-y.
joining Twitter was fucking
With his
hilarious.
Frank's
Already-
Red Hot
Yeah,
endorsement.
already killing it,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, it
Killing
was
it.
so good. It was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
And his back and forth with Tom has been
Yeah. It's like,
phenomenal.
oh yeah, of course you only show up in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
See, what I heard as a Tom Brady guy, a lot of people became Tom Brady fans.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there was a thing going around on Twitter. It was like, I like Florida Tom. Like he's more relaxed now.
He ripped his pants and just didn't care. He just puts him.
No,
It's like
guys,
good weather, dude.
listen,
It's like good
we're
weather.
not talking about Tom Brady here. No.
Yes, we are.
No.
Yeah, he's a good
Also,
guy.
in
You
good
remember,
news,
all right, Ryan, you remember last night the guy John?
oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a huge Bucks fan, and he begs me every fucking week to talk about Tom Brady on his podcast.
Is John black or white? He's black.
He's the one
Talking about
who
Brady.
was talking about you.
Tom Brady.
He's the one who was talking about you.
Playoffs
Remember?
this year, baby. Playoffs this
We're
year.
gonna have
Give
a
a shout out
whole
to me.
special about Brady and the Bucks.
He's the one who was talking about you. That one.
On a what?
Never mind.
Oh no, he's the one that called me racist.
Oh yeah, he was.
No.
He thought you were white.
Abort.
John,
Exit.
you caught me on a
Eject.
real good week, bro. Caught me on a real good week. That's all I'll say about it. I'm done.
All right. Thank you, John, for listening and subscribing and such. Thank you. You might unsubscribe after this, but whatever.
Is he
Other than
subscribed?
that,
No,
Sure,
he did not subscribe.
what?
He
Fuck
did
that
not
guy.
unsubscribe.
Fuck
He
John.
did not do that.
All right, friends. I love you again. I miss you, and thank you for everybody, to all 4 of you who listens. And I can't wait to see you and hug you guys.
Yeah, I miss you all too. Everybody, stay safe, stay woke, stay alert.
Subscribe, like, tell your mama and grandma. Bye.
Bye. Suck farts.
Black power.